Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sunday chat with Andy the Gabby Cabby. I hope you're all right. Hope you've all had a good weekend and life has been treating you as well as it possibly can do. And it's great already to see some of my regulars in the chat. Well, in fact, many of my regulars, and it's always great we get the same group of people. So hello to you all. Just calling out a couple of people here. Morning Glory, Chris Card, Anthony P, Mike Hancock, Gary Thornbury, hello, Cosmic Wartoad, Mark and Janice, Aaron Kidd, Tony Tasker, loads and loads of you, Jason Hughes, Bloodnose as always, Julie Baldwin, Pete, and Minge Pump. I always love that name, I really do. Julie Keys, Stink Pooter. Hi Ryan, good to see you, my friend. Mick Hardstaff, many more. Great hello to everybody. Good to see you in the house. Well, there's a few things lined up this evening for you all. So I suppose we'll just get cracking straight away. Before I do anything or say anything in the chat, what I want to do is just call out a couple of individuals and a couple of condolences. In the celebrity world this week, we've had, hi Mum, good to see you in the chat. We've had a bit of sad news, in fact, very sad news. We'll start with this one, a piece of my childhood. Carl Weathers, also known as Apollo Creed from the Rocky movies, most recently Mandalorian. Obviously, he was an American football player back in the day before he found fame as an actor. Predator is another one. Happy Gilmore, loads and loads of films. Very much larger than life character and very much a part of my childhood in films, particularly Rocky, that I took inspiration from on many occasions as a child and as an adult, I'm not ashamed to admit. And, 76 years old, very sad news indeed. I did see a video that Sylvester Stallone did paying tribute to Carl Weathers. And you could see he was fighting back tears very much. Very great loss. Very great loss. So condolences to all of them. And not only Carl Weathers, of course, we heard in this country the sad passing of Johnny Irwin, who'd been very ill for some time and also passed away as well at an age where it is no age. It is no age, even more tragic. And condolences to his family too. We get this every now and again, don't we? We can go for ages where we don't get any news like this. People in the public eye, people we look up to, people we enjoy watching, and then all of a sudden they're gone. It happens more with a certain generation, I suppose. I guess some of you could feel the same. Somebody I want to call out as well, who is very much still here, is my pal from America, retired NYPD Sergeant Bill Cannon, who runs Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories, with his fellow presenters, all either retired law enforcement or some kind of expertise. His channel has hit 60,000 subscribers. I know he's been wanting to get to that point for a long time, so congratulations to Bill and everybody that works with him. That's great to see. That's great to see. Now, this is the wonderful thing when YouTube works correctly, when people work together on YouTube correctly, you can go on to great things. It's unfortunate where you do get clusters of YouTubers every now and again being dicks and gagging up. But, it's a bit like the school ground bully, and we know what happens to them in the end, where the bullied snaps. But it's great when YouTube works as it should do and you get good results like Bill Cannon and others. Well, before I go much further, can I ask that you hit the like button? That helps move the algorithm, helps the algorithm spread word of Andy the Gabby Cabby and the live streams everywhere. Very much appreciate it. Welcome to everybody that is watching. Now, before I came on air, there was something that was pointed out to me on Twitter. And I just want to point that out. Let's see if I can... Oh, no, that's the wrong screen there. So I'll remove that. I think I downloaded it a little bit earlier. So let's close that one off and let's see what we've got here. Yeah. Now, you may recall some time back, I did a video on Canberra Sands pontins, and there was Prestatyn as well that were closed. And we all tried to look at very much what could possibly be done with the sites. I think it was quite obvious, really, wasn't it, what could be done? I've been told on good authority, this is Liz Kershaw that put this, that Pontins, which was closed in December 2023, Canberra Sands, which has been a destination for holidaymakers and day trippers since the 20s, is now designated for accommodation for arrivals across the channel. Now, we saw that coming, didn't we? Saw that coming a mile off. You know, all that accommodation, the way it's set out, the way it looks, it was a foregone conclusion that they were going to do something like that with it. And I'm assuming that somewhere there'll be something about Prestatyn in a very similar vein very soon. I don't know what you think about that. Let me know in the comments. But they think we're damn stupid, don't they? And think we're not going to see it. Pontin Southport is also designated the same. There you go, Jan. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. And your feedback. And, you know, I get emails all the time with different things, different events, different stories from everywhere. And it's great to hear your points of view, your experiences, and things that you don't know that I do, and vice versa. We all help each other, don't we? And it's great. Now, this whole migrant thing is a bit of a political football. And Suella Braverman, you know, speaking of political footballs, has been on the news again. And we'll pull up what she had to say. And she's having a go at the Met Police. And their two-tier policing system. They've turned a blind eye. Suella Braverman blasts Met Police as hateful pro-Palestinian marches become a regular fixture. You can see her there. Former Home Secretary Suella Braverman is out at the police, claiming they facilitated hateful marches on the streets of Britain. Speaking on GB News, Braverman spoke on her attempts to clamp down on the marches, only to be stifled by the police force. Who's in charge here? You know, come on. The latest demonstration took place in London yesterday, with 10,000 supporters marching in central London. Perhaps the most controversial of the marches was on Armistice Day, and us YouTubers did an awful lot of content on that. A couple of my friends, Paz, absolutely average as well, Russ, bless him, you know, they all went to London and all had a good look around and see what was going on and reported the truth. I did a video on that. Hundreds of thousands defied Rishi Sunak and Suella Braverman and continued the march. It's an absolute disaster. I mean, police should be there to police. Nothing more, nothing less. They, you know, it's their job. Keep the streets safe. Remove, I suppose what you could call it, is filth by any means necessary. And they failed. It is, yeah, horrible. Horrible. Now, one of the things that's come out in the last week was this awful attack in London of these, you know, it was a woman and a couple of kids. They had acid thrown at them, very severely injured. And the perpetrator is still on the run to this day. You know, this is unacceptable. Now, one of the things, I mean, I'll pull up the news article there. They're now waggling a £20,000 reward in front of everybody. And let's see what this high-ranking officer has to say about it.
I'll try and shout. Is that all right? Clear enough? Okay, thanks. I'm Commander John Saville. So, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm here to give you an update in relation to our progress following the horrific incident in Clapham on Wednesday evening. First of all, an update on how our victims are. The mother remains very poorly in hospital and she's sedated at the moment. We expect that those injuries will be life-changing. Thankfully, we've had an update from the hospital that the 2 young children that were with her, their injuries aren't as serious as first thought, and they are not likely to be life-changing. They remain with mum in the care of the NHS, and we of course wish them the very best recovery that we can. In terms of our manhunt for Azedi, we've got a large team of very experienced detectives leading the manhunt, using all the tactics that you would expect us to use. Lots of officers out on the ground, and we are working very closely with colleagues from Transport for London, British Transport Police, and our colleagues in Northumbria Police as well. Last night, 5 search warrants were executed, 2 in East London and 3 up in Newcastle, and we've recovered some significant and important pieces of evidence which will help with our investigation. I'd like to give you a rundown of the timeline that we know so far in relation to what happened and the movements on Wednesday. So we know that Azedi left Newcastle in the very, very early hours of Wednesday morning, and he travelled down south to London. At around about 6:30 a.m, he was in the Tooting area. There was a further sighting of his vehicle at about 4:30 p.m. in Croydon, and at about 7 p.m. he was in the Streatham area. As you know, the awful attack took place at 7:25 in the evening in Clapham, and at 33 minutes past 7 he boards a train at Clapham South Tube. We know that at 8 p.m. he was at King's Cross Tube Station, and then at about 9:15, you've seen the images, he was captured in Tesco's on the Caledonian Road, which are the images you've seen with a fairly significant facial injury. Thankfully, due to the great response we've had from the public, we're able to follow him and know that he got on a train at 9 p.m, a Victoria Line tube heading south, and we've got some further images from the CCTV that my colleagues will share with you shortly, and we would very much like all of the public's help in identifying where he's travelled. If you've seen Azedi or you know where he is, then I urge you please to contact our hotline, which is 0207 175 2784, or of course you can phone Crime Stoppers. If you think you've seen Azedi now, do not approach him, ring 999 and we will be there urgently. We need the public's help to trace Azedi. It's really important. Finally, I can make a personal appeal to him, because Abdul, you clearly have got some very significant injuries. We've seen the images. You need some medical help. So do the right thing and hand yourself in. Thank you very much, everybody, and thank you, the media, for your help in getting us to find Azedi. Thank you.
There you go. Still on the run. I didn't know, unmute my microphone again there. Don't know what to say about that. You know, one of the initial criticisms that I read was when the attack first happened, there was no adequate description of the individual concerned. Oh, it's some geezer threw acid at someone and ran. Keep an eye out for him. What's he look like? Who is he? How high is he? What hair color is he? What all sorts of things that weren't put out there immediately. I heard somebody mention, you know, why the hell are they offering a £20,000 ransom? They do this sort of thing in the States all the time. The theory is you dangle money in front of people, it tends to jog memories. That's what that's all about. And we live in a surveillance state. You know, ring doorbells, CCTV cameras all over London, shops, surveillance cameras outside office buildings, and all sorts of stuff like that. Eventually, you know, he will be caught. But how did he get away that quickly and to parts wherever it is? Where is he? And obviously, keep an eye on it and see what happens and hope for some kind of recovery for the family. You heard that the lady wasn't great at all and has suffered significant injuries, but hopefully the kids will be okay in the long run. So we'll keep an eye on that one, most definitely. Speaking of crimes, a little bit of a downgrade now to more of an electronic kind. I received an email several days ago, and I bring a fuller video out on this tomorrow, about somebody that ended up with their bank account getting emptied, and emailed me about it. Basically, they think that they clicked on a link to what they thought was a website connected with their bank account. And it turns out it was a complete fake. They put their details into this website, and the hijacker or the hacker could exploit their details and in turn nickel their money out of their bank account. Now, this process is known as clickjacking. Clickjacking is an attack that tricks a user into clicking a web page element which is invisible or disguised as another element. This can cause users to unwittingly download malware, visit malicious web pages, provide credentials or sensitive information, transfer money, or purchase products online. Now, this sort of stuff has been going on for a long, long time. I mean, my background before I was a cab driver, for those that don't know, I actually worked in IT for a great many years. And this is the kind of stuff that I had to deal with on a daily basis. And, you know, you can Google and you can find out all of this. Hello, Logical Action. Good to see you. You can find out all of this just by a simple Google search. And, you know, you get emails all the time asking you for to log into your bank, and they're all phrased to try and scare you. You know, it's that bully mentality again. And we know what happens to bullies. They get caught in the end, and it's not fair. And hopefully the video that I bring out tomorrow will shed a little bit more information on it, which would be cool. There's an email that I want to show you very shortly to do with another subject I want to take a bit of a deeper dive into. But one thing that came to my mind, or my attention rather, a few days ago, and I want to find the comment. Let me just find the comment. Ah, yes, here it is. Saw you on Channel 5, Andy. That's Lucinda. Thank you very much for that. I received a comment, in fact, a couple of comments, informing me that I was on Channel 5 on a program last night to do with smart meters. And I thought to myself, what the hell? I didn't know anything about it. And apparently I was. It was a program. I mean, it's propaganda, basically, all about, you know, why people should have smart meters and talking about people that poo-poo them. And they went for a load of social media content. And it just so happens I got featured. And if I find the right button to push, here you go.
Smart meters also gather personal data, and the energy companies sell this or pass it on to other companies.
There you go. That's the extent of my television fame. I'll play.
Smart meters also gather personal data, and the energy companies sell this or pass it on to other companies.
It was, as I said, it was a program about smart meters, and they obviously cherry picked that. Well, it was literally 8 seconds out of one of my videos and put it in as part of the program. Now, I've had people saying, they didn't ask your permission, you should have been paid, and all the rest of it. Jason Hughes, you know, exactly there. Don't they need your consent for that? I think that, you know, the rules or copyright rules or anything like that, correct me if I'm wrong, but considered to be fair use or for commentary purposes, I could play 30 seconds of somebody else's video for commentary purposes or to commentate on the content of it, and it would be fine. In that case, it's 8 seconds. But generally, if I'm going to be if I'm going to be toying with somebody else's video, I will have the common decency to ask them first. So that's the only thing I would say to Channel 5, but they probably just considered me some other social media geek with a tinfoil hat on talking about smart meters. So there you go. This happens with YouTube. It really does. People pick up on your stuff. I mean, I had an approach off the BBC not so long ago who wanted me to do a bi-weekly piece as a cab driver on one of their radio programs. Could you imagine a centre-right individual like me on the BBC? I wouldn't have survived, so I politely declined. What else has happened? Yeah, there's a Channel 5 thing, and I've had a couple of approaches from a couple of journalists as well, wanting some information from me, one of which fairly recently, and hopefully it will come out in the wash very soon, but we will see. Anyway, folks, just a quick reminder, this is the daily chat, well, Sunday chat of Andy the Gabby Cabby. Good to see everybody. If you just joined us, welcome. And if you are a new person, welcome also to the channel. And please, if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe. We're flying, and it's great to see the channel growing. And I also have my friends on YouTube as well. Paz, Absolutely Average, being two of them, who are doing great as well. And I want to see all my friends grow, and we grow together. That's how it works. And if you're just here, hit the like button, because it helps the algorithm shove everything around as well. We've got just over a couple of hundred in the chat, so that's really great to see. And we're broadcasting across Facebook, YouTube, and X, otherwise known as Twitter. Now, at this stage in proceedings, I'll have a quick look at some of the comments. I think it's like on YouTube uploads if you set videos. I didn't see the rest of that, Richie. So let's have a look at the comments and run through a couple of your comments, and then I'll run on to the next email. Okay, the first one. Tony, it's our 38th wedding anniversary, so we have had a few wines. Mark and Janice, happy wedding anniversary. Many happy returns to the day. And I have one question. How the hell did you get to 38 years? No, seriously. Many congratulations. Reminds me of a funny story. I worked with a guy called Jim. He's an old Scottish guy. And he said, I've been married for 44 years. I said, how'd you manage that? He said, I was in the army for 30 of them. That's his deadpan, the way he delivered it, you know, away from home and the rest of it. But many congratulations to you. Anthony P. Netflix has a movie, Prince Andrew, according to the BBC. What the is going on? I have no idea, Anthony. I will look at Netflix when I get indoors if I can get my boy off the damn thing, and I'll try and verify that. But yes, what love is going on? Most definitely. Cosmic War Toad. Part 1. This is what I need, as I've got things on my mind. My mother's got to have an operation. 2, I'm waiting for word on my uncle has found out. Oh, my God. Well, best of luck to your mum. I hope it's not a serious one. And my condolences about your uncle. And, you know, best wishes and support to you. There's another bit to this. All the crew at the co-op cared about was getting the delivery done the amount of time I was taking, despite me having a farmer. Then their precious deliveries. Yeah, not great, not great. I hope you're okay, Cosmic. And yeah, let us know how you get on, won't you? Jason got me for 6 hours. There's so much bad news this week. Not too bad of a week. Managed to get our 2004 diesel Saphira with 235 miles on it, 1,000 miles on it through the MOT for the 11th year of having it. Don't tell Sadiq. He might want the ULEZ. But yeah, that's great. If you look after them, regular oil changes and everything, they just go and go, don't they? That's the main thing. Another comment, Mark and Janice again. Bristol, the first lemmings to throw statues in the river, and they were bound to suffer from draconian measures against car ownership. Yeah, you saw my video earlier on. about Bristol and trying to price the cars out again by, well, putting the parking permit charges up. I think they tripled them or quadrupled them or something like that. So I have to see. Rafi, hello, 97 likes. Come on, if you haven't done so already, we've got 220 watching, so we can do with a few more. Hit the like button and let's get to 100 at the very least. Okay, email time. I always like when people email me about organizations or funny goings on with governments and everything behind the scenes, because it's something that we can expose, and it's something we can really drill down into and, you know, get the, well, meat and potatoes, as they say in America, you know, find out what's going on. I received this email. Hi, Andy. I've been sending the following details to newspapers and websites, but nobody wants to know. I'm sure you do, because the actions of government and local authorities will have and are having an impact of the lives of us, the little people. Here's what I sent in a comment on your website. Hope you can investigate and highlight this. I assume you mean my YouTube channel, but thank you very much. Local authorities have been sent a climate action plan checklist so they can declare a climate emergency and write their climate action strategy. Horsham District Council have spent £700,000 on their strategy with a budget of £15 million for 2024-25 to implement it. One of the HTC transport aims is to reduce reliance on private cars, increase demand for public transport, create community-led transport schemes, reduce single occupancy car use, investigate and implement low traffic neighbourhoods. In other words, government guidance is to reduce the use of private cars. There's been no consultation, no discussion, and no publicity about any of this. Totally undemocratic and totalitarian. Look up your local area by putting into your search engine Climate Emergency UK /local-authority-checklist and carbon copy eco local climate action. Search your local area on the map. These action plans are not being developed and implemented with public consent. It's all being done behind closed doors, not forgetting that ideal leader, well, obviously of London, Sadiq Khan, is the chair of C40 Cities. How can we forget that? So there's a lot of information to, you know, digest there. And I've taken the liberty of pulling the website up. So we'll have a look. Share screen. Okay, now if I Google what they say, you can see there Climate Emergency UK /local -authority -checklist. So if we go here, okay, we get this website, and you got email declare at climate emergency. That sounds very, well, hell, let's make this full screen. Let's get my boat race out of the way so you can see this clearer. Email declare at climate emergency. It's our website on it. Climate action plan checklist for local authorities developing and reviewing action plans. And there's a full action plan there. There's a multi-page PDF that you can pull out and see that. And then you've got a map of declarations. Now, if we pull that up and have a look, you can see there is an awful lot of councils or local authorities or whatever you want to call them all over the place on a map. Now, what I'm going to do, and I did look at this in preparation, I'm going to go down my way to not quite Southend. There we go. There's my local authority. So we click on this, see what we get. Thanet District Council declared a climate emergency On the 11th of July, 2019, we have a population of 141,819 people. And there's apparently an article in the Isle of Thanet Gazette on this. Let's just have a quick look at this. There's minutes of a meeting. There's agenda items. None of this, as the individual that sent me the thing, was made available to the public. We were quite simply not adequately informed. Now, I'll show you this. This apparently was in the local rag. This is the Isle of Thanet Gazette, our local paper. Unanimous council are backing for climate emergency proposal and environment protest. Now, that's dated July the 12th, 2019. Kathy Bales, local newspaper editor, I've had some dealings with her over time, and you can see it all there. And a Labour person, there you go, and protests and everything else. Never had any idea any of that was going on. And I have to wonder, you know, is there going to be loads of people all over the country that don't have any idea that their council are up to that? So, you know, have a replay of this live when it's finished and go and check that out and see if your council's in the mix and exactly what they're up to. I'm going to have a drill down of this subject, and if anybody else has got anything on it that they can let me know about, then please email me, contact me, and we'll get it out there, because they think that they can do things behind closed doors. They think that they can do things and we don't get to know about them. It's unacceptable. We need to know what's going on in our own areas, and through mediums like this, that's exactly how we do it. We get it out there. Not that it'll end up on Channel 5 anytime soon, that's for sure. Okay, now, the last story. All of the, I'd find a tactful way of putting this, all of the politicians, doesn't matter what side of the bench they're sitting on, seem to have an issue with how one would identify themselves, be it a man, be it a woman, be it a boy, be it a girl, or a mixture of the two, or something else entirely. In fact, they're so obsessed with this whole idea, they come out with some very stupid things. And I had to point this out. This is the last screen. A Labour MP wants to change the law to let dead people switch their gender. Have you ever heard anything so ridiculous in all of your life? I mean, let's have a look at this. A Labour MP has sparked outrage after calling for a change in the law to allow people's gender to be changed on official records after their death. Warrington North MP Charlotte Nichols called for the change in a written parliamentary question to the Cabinet Office last month. She asked if the Gender Recognition Act could be amended to allow for transgender people who are deceased to be legally remembered by the gender they live by. It would mean that those who had not undergone any treatment could be identified as a different gender. The genesis of the petition was, you know, the murder of Brianna Gay. That was tragic, absolutely tragic. And it goes on. Now, there's going to be a great deal of people in this country who are going to quite simply say, who gives up? You know, especially if they're gone. They're gone. And it leads on to this next thing. I've been seeing a lot of commentary in the news over the last, well, days, weeks, and it's the usual bullshit that really winds me up, that we only have a choice of two, Labour or Conservative, and a vote for anybody else would shuffle Labour in the door, or a vote for anybody else shuffle the Conservatives in the door. It's really tiresome. All the while we believe that, and unfortunately there is a great deal of this country that still believe that, we're going to be stuck with the same old again and again and again. We need to look at this situation and we need to think that, we can change it. First past the post isn't entirely indestructible. If we want something different, we can go and get it. So enough people need to go out in enough numbers and vote for that change. Otherwise, we will get stuck. We will get stuck. I saw a thing saying they're two cheeks at the same arse. Maybe there might be some truth to that. Anyway, let's go through the rest of these comments and see what you have to say. Andy, what's your feelings on what's going on in Gaza? Somebody had to ask me that, didn't they? When this initial thing happened, where you had this massacre in Israel, and the initial reaction, we're going to go and get the bastards that did this and make sure they understand it should never happen again. I thought, okay, that's what I said earlier about bullies. They punch you on the nose, you go and give them two back. That's what it looked like on the face of it. But it's wiped entire people off the map. There's so many civilians that have been caught up in this, and from a humanitarian point of view, it's awful. It's awful. And what concerns me more is the bigger picture with all the other countries in the Middle Eastern states surrounding there. They start getting the hump with each other and start chucking bombs and missiles and Christ knows what at each other. And you look at what's going on with the Houthi rebels at the moment, connected with the Red Sea. It's like we're heading down a path where I can't see an end. And it's a powder keg that could well explode at any moment. We have an awful lot of assets down there. We've thrown an awful lot of money into this situation. Meanwhile, you look at what's going on at home. Politically, I don't know enough about Israel and Palestine and anything else to make a educated comment. I've been following it a lot more than I have done, but it's just such a waste. We need to learn to deal with these things. And unfortunately, you get different. This is the problem we have in this country, where you've got different people from different backgrounds. And I'm being diplomatic there, being forced to mix with each other. It doesn't work. You put them all together in a room and boom, we're seeing that in action right now. And who has to pay the price? It's awful. It really is awful. Anyway, sorry I went on. Mark Hampson, I've been on Liz Kershaw's BBC Coventry and Warwickshire morning show years ago. Okay, Mark, that's interesting. You ended up on LBC on a phone call, didn't you, at some point? Sure, it was you. Correct me if I'm wrong. Ben Manning, Abdul, I just switched over from George Galloway. Much as I love him, he won't talk about this. How, with all this AI and CCTV, how on earth can he be on the loose? That's absolutely right. I mean, I mentioned the NYPD and Bill Cannon earlier on in the show. And, there was an awful crime that happened in New York where somebody on a subway opened fire with a load of automatic weaponry and, injured an awful lot of people and ran in the chaos. And they caught him very quickly indeed. And the reason was it was the CCTV and all the surveillance around the area. They actually caught him disappearing and then coming out another subway station, getting into a car, driving away, I think it was, as memory serves. See, you get them everywhere. You get them everywhere. And it's a wonder these people are still on the loose. But hopefully something will jog with somebody somewhere. If you're that desperate to get people caught, that desperate to get people arrested, then you need to give the public a fighting chance to identify them if they see them. If you see something, say something. as the adage goes. And they should have done a lot more, a lot sooner with that regard. Tony had a letter off of Eon this week saying they're coming to change my meter for a smart one. Never asked them for one. What's your situation, Tony? Are you working? Are you unemployed? Are you retired? What? Because, you know, you could turn around and say no, or I want it in done mode, but they're starting to get a bit more militant with this now, I think is the best way of describing it, because there's certain government targets they want to meet, and they haven't been met. So they are starting to jump up and down a bit more. Keep me informed about what goes on and, you know, how it goes. Russ, evening, Andy and Bloodnose. Hi to all in the chat. Sorry I'm late. Been listening in the background. Just sat down. Hello, my friend. Hope you're okay. Good to see you. And best wishes to your family. Somebody in particular, you know who I mean when I say that. Mark and Janice. Janice says, you are looking great, Andy. You've lost so much weight. Thank you, Janice. Appreciate that. It's very simple. I ended up with a lot more exercise, changed my diet, which is great. And one of the things I opted to do in January, and I haven't admitted this yet, was dry January. The last alcoholic drink I had was on the 2nd of January. And as of the 4th of February, I still haven't had a drink. Now, I'm not going to go dry. I intend to have a few beers next week when I'm having a break, but I've not drunken anything. Now, you get all these things saying, oh, your body will change, all this. When I look in the mirror, I see I'm looking a bit more perkier, and I certainly feel more clear of mind. I think is the best way of describing it. But yeah, I wanted to do it to prove I could do it. I shouldn't really admit this kind of thing, being a taxi driver, but when I have a bevy, I tend to like it a bit too much sometimes. Have another. So I thought, no, got to cut it out and get yourself in some area of control. And there I am. So thank you. Appreciate it. Richie, I think it's like on YouTube uploads, if you set videos as Creative Commons, it means you've given permission to reuse the content. I think I've seen that setting, Richie, somewhere. I'll have to have a look at that. I mean, in principle, I don't mind because, you know, if your content gets repurposed somewhere else, particularly if it's on the news, it's free advertising, isn't it? So, in principle, I don't mind. It would have just been nice if I was asked first. As with all things, common manners, common decency. A lot of people don't tend to get that these days. David L., Andy, and everyone else, did you see James Whale last night? It was a disgusting show. How these pair are on air is shocking. What was that about, David? I read something about what's his face got told to get out the studio to do with the railway strikes. Is that what that was about, or something else? Let me know. Going underground, evening, Andy. Good heavens, Channel 5, BBC, Celebrity Bake Off next. How about just playing bugger off? None of that fills me with any kind of ambition whatsoever. I think I'll stick with my YouTube channel if it's all the same. River Mersey just watched a YouTube video outlining that not only are present parking structures not suitable for EVs, but almost all fast road safety barriers won't retain the heavier EVs. Yeah, I know about the car parks because it's the weight of the batteries, or they're worried the combined weight of the batteries will shut the car parks off. But, you know, make them collapse. I mean, you look what happened in Luton. Now, I'm not going down the whole it was a car, it was an EV route. I mean, there was electric vehicles in that car park. There's no two ways about it. And you look at the collapse, you know, with all the temperature and the weight and everything else. It's a good example there of what you're talking about. And they're actually demolishing that car park now that I'm aware of. Banned again. How's this for fate or coincidence? An in-law of mine did his will 2 weeks ago. And wow, died on the road yesterday. It's almost as if they knew something, isn't it? That really is a strange, albeit tragic coincidence. Julie, after a video I've seen today about electric cars, we're never going to park anywhere near them again. I assume you mean scary instead of scart. Yeah, it is. I mean, you look at the ones I've done about the buses as well. I think there's about 3 problems with buses that come up. Gary Thornbury, 26 states have joined with Texas to stop border crossing. There's going to be trouble, I think. How many states are in America? Is it 50? I can't remember now. It's either 50 or 52. I'm sure an American friend somewhere will just do this if I got it right with 50. Not too sure about that. Honesty and truth. Yeah. Yeah, it's 50. I got the thumbs up. Honesty and truth. Evening, everyone. Very worrying about the push to stop dogs being owned by the little bit. Yeah. I mean, it's the XLs, isn't it? It's the main thing they're talking about. I had a funny thing with my dad the other day. I got this message through saying, Andrew, that's my name to the family, can you pop round? Because we want to ask you something. So I said, okay. I walked in and my dad straight away said, there's somebody we want you to meet. And when you walk in, ignore them. I said, well, what the hell are you talking about? And he said, when you walk in, put your hand down like that. Right. I walk in, next thing I'm like, ruff. I got barked at. Yes, they got a dog. 1-year-old Labradoodle, gorgeous boy. So, it's great. It's great. Got used to me pretty quick. Always poo. Thanet, are you a lakeside cabbie? I'm not a lakeside cabbie, always poo. I'm based in Thanet and I go to all the airports, sometimes London. I don't think I've been to the lakeside, actually. I drive past it fairly regularly. Last time I went there was with the family, actually. Richard Cave, how does a council authority declare a climate emergency? They're not scientists. Couldn't agree with you more there. I tend to think might be something to do with that, maybe. Grants and all that sort of thing. Here's a few million quid if you declare a climate emergency. That's what I think's on the face of it, but I'm going to look into that some more. Logical action. People power is the way. After a year of hassling Colchester Council, many meetings, 17 councillors changed their mind about the climate change narrative, with the council voted against it. People power is definitely the way. I agree with you. Andy Simo Simpson, aka Eccentric Simo. Hey up, mate, from Yorkshire. Hello, Andy. Good to see you. Or hey up. Hope you're well, sir. Thank you very much. Honesty and truth. Richard Tice is a disappointment. A Tory in new clothes. I could not vote for his party. We need reform in politics. I don't mean a reform party. I mean reform. The whole system is broken. We need someone to come in or a party to come in and actually do what we want them to do. Now, I'm hearing horror stories and seeing horror stories about what Richard Tice is up to. And unfortunately, where a lot of people put their hopes into an individual or a party of individuals, they're going to expect certain things in return. And I'll turn your attention to a video Paz did. It was, I think the title was Another Cock-Up by Richard Tice or something of that nature. And it detailed a very big mistake he's going to make with somebody he's welcoming into the party. And they're very much saying, oh, let's get all the Tories over here that are pissed off with Sunak. We don't want any of that. That's the same old rot, just changing colours. We need new people. You know, the Noel Wilcoxes of the world, people, normal people, businessmen, everyday lives. That's what we need in that place representing us. No more of this high-paid establishment, jobs for the boys, them and us kind of thing. It ain't going to wash anymore. And either Richard needs to wise up to that very quickly and realise that, or he's going to be in a few problems very quickly. But we'll see how that one pans out. Logical action. 55% of the vote went to independence in Clapham recently. There you go. A symptom that we're fed up with it. A symptom that we're fed up with it. Andy, my son, rang me to tell me you were on TV. Yes, Channel 5 for about 8 seconds. If anybody's got access to it, go on Catch Up. And yesterday it was. It's a program about smart meters. Total propaganda, if you ask me. But I was on there from about the 30-minute mark, only about 8 seconds. Blink, you'll miss me. Ben Manning, this military-industrial complex and their children dying is beyond belief, not least how sales jobs in London are often military equipment conferences. It's all about money beyond comprehension. Evil. Absolutely. I mean, I've seen text and I've seen videos about where all this stuff could lead, and it's all going to a place which is unimaginable and unthinkable, really, in my view, and I'm sure it's shared by many others. David L., here's a question for you, Andy. What do you do if someone pulls a knife out on you compared to a gun? Answer: could save your life. Pulled a knife on me instead of a gun. Run. Basically, run. If someone pulls a knife on you and you're in a position to, don't attempt to tackle them. Don't attempt to do anything to intercede or intercept them. They're the one that's got holding all the cards. It's a very big blade in their hand. Get the hell out of Dodge. And if you can't, you fight. It's your two choices. A gun, that would depend greatly. It would depend greatly. Your chances of a little bit more limited there. But I remember a story about a karate guy once. The thing about karate, you repeat the same actions and the same exercises again and again and again. For example, to block a punch to the face is like that. And you do this hundreds of times every single week. And it's developing muscle memory. So somebody punches you in the face. Now, there was a black belt that was on the telly years ago. And great film, definitely cosmic. There was a black belt on the telly years ago that was actually held up by somebody with a knife who actually wanted to stab this black belt. And this black belt instinctively did this, which is another karate block, which parries a blow to the middle of your body. So instinctively did this, and he ended up with a knife straight through there, but saved himself. He was okay, just obviously with a knife in his thing. Yeah, a horrible world we live in to talk about that, isn't there? Retro, there is no law that compel you to install a smart meter. None. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right, Retro. There isn't. But there are a lot of white papers and a lot of documentation where they're talking about trying to come up with laws to compel you to have one. But if you go back even further than that, and this is something I've been looking into, anything for the last 200 or 300 years, and particularly as far as, I think, 1973, we've been having the piss taken out of us for at least 50 years, if not more. There's certainly a lot of information to support that in the public domain. Adrian, hi Andy. I became diabetic and found alcohol didn't agree with me. Gave up drinking 4 years ago. Feel a lot better and don't miss it at all. Yeah, it's a funny thing with diabetics, isn't it? Funny thing, because you can have your sugar level will go all the way up and then it'll just crash. I mean, years ago, I had to tend to somebody that had a problem with that, and I ended up sitting with them in an emergency medical unit for the evening. Logical action. Have you heard? Great information, Andy. Thank you. A lot of it's common sense. I mean, you get these Bruce Lee types saying, do this, do that. No, somebody pulls a knife on you, get the hell out of Dodge. Have you heard about the new battery passport for the EU? Somebody sent me a link to it, Logical Action. I haven't looked into it fully, but I do intend to. I've actually got that stocked up. I've got a pile of emails now. I literally speed read them every day and think, right, what am I going to record today? Blah, 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 blah. And go with that. Angela Crowland. Hi, Andy. Sorry I missed you. Well, I'm still here. Going back to the thing about the knife where somebody said good information, you run. But the other thing as well, particularly with karate, is designed to shock. So if you're in a position where you've got to do something, and then the idea is you do something and then get yourself out of trouble, get yourself out of danger. Your best weapons are your feet and how fast you can run in the opposite direction. There's areas of shock. The chin, the throat, here, just around the rib cage, just below actually, there's a soft bit or a good old kick in the ghoulies. Something hard, very hard to any of them places, quickly, hard, it will do that and it will give you those vital seconds to get the hell away. But if you're able to straight away, run. Don't stand and fight, particularly if someone's got something that they can hurt you with and do serious harm. I've been studying this for a great number of years, and that's one of the initial things that they tell you. Logical action. A young woman died today near Clapham and mauled by 2 dogs yesterday. No more details as yet. I have heard about it. One of the things that I did see in the news, they're blaming XLs. I don't know whether it's true, but that went straight away on my timeline. I saw they tried to blame it on XLs. So is it true or not? Is it just another excuse to demonize them? Who knows? Lord Jim Dandy, Andy, when do you go on holiday? Next week. And we'll come to that just at the end of the show, what's going to happen. Richard Lewis, bet 50% of your viewers still paying their TV license. How is this country ever going to change? Most people are over. Fines, council tax, new 30 bills. Join the club, guys. A lot of this, Richard, and you bring up a valid point, is how brave you actually are. How brave you are to try it on, to do it. Because when you kick the establishment or when you have a go at the establishment, they're going to kick you back. And you've got to decide whether you're prepared to put up with the consequences. Are you prepared to stay the course? And a lot of people don't have that courage. A lot of people don't have that courage, and others do. They think, be damned with it. Declan, on Wednesday, I'm with my beautiful wife for 33 years. Met when we were 17. Wow. Congratulations. That's wonderful, isn't it? When I read longevity in a relationship like that, true love doesn't come along very often. And when it does, you have to grab it with both hands. Don't let go. Took me a few attempts, I tell you. Jim Winter. In the Second World War, my mum used to have a pepper in her pocket and chuck it in the American soldiers' eyes when they were misbehaving. What did they used to say? Overpaid, oversexed, and over here. Yeah, that's a very old saying. Very old saying. But to be fair, I think a lot of our boys were overseas, weren't they? They were overseas at the time. Well, what's going to happen next week? I'm on holiday. So there'll be a bit of a disruption. there'll be a bit of a disruption to proceedings. There's not going to be a live next Sunday. There won't be. I'm afraid. I just won't have the facilities to be able to do that. Tomorrow, there'll be a few Ranger videos coming out. There'll be 4 videos from 8 o'clock in the morning. There will also be videos coming out on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So that's 6 or 7 days. I will try and do something for you every day, even if it's just a daily vlog. Try and show my face and say hello and let you know what's going on. I don't generally believe in walking around a holiday destination and going, hey, look at me, look where I am, because I don't like rubbing people's noses in it and stuff like that. That's not fair, because a lot of people just can't do it. But I will be around. I will be around, and I'll do something for you when I'm about. I might even include Jack in a few things, because some people have asked to see him, and it'd be good for him to show his face again. Now, I'm going to go. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like button. Yes, Lord Jim Dandy, Factor 50, definitely. Please hit the like button, because it will help everything spread around. It will tickle the algorithm's fancy and let more people besides Channel 5 know about Andy the Gabby Cabby. And if you are new here, welcome. And please make sure you subscribe to the channel, because we're doing well. We are doing well. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Have a good evening, what's left of it. And until I see you again, I bid you toodaloo.